Eleven, one of the most iconic, important, and interesting characters in the history of television. No matter your thoughts on Stranger Things as a whole, people have always been able to come together and agree that despite having her ups and downs, Eleven is an incredible character. That is, up until season 5, where, to put it lightly, her character was completely assassinated. I've been wanting to make this video ever since season 5 released, but I've put it off because it's taken me a long time to really wrap my head around Eleven's ending, and the fact that it fundamentally changes her character arc that she's been on since season 1. I made a video back in January talking about the stuff that I liked and disliked about the finale, as, like a lot of people, I was very mixed on that episode, and I did mention Eleven in that video. But I feel like for an ending that pissed me off this much, it deserves its own video so I can get it off my chest and my therapist can finally stop hearing about it. Before I get into it though, please do subscribe if you're new. Only 10% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, which is crazy. And we're currently aiming for 10k, so if you could subscribe, I'd greatly appreciate it. I mean, you know, it didn't take too long, does it? It's pretty fucking simple. Don't be lazy. So to truly contextualize why I think season 5 ruined the character of Eleven, I first need to delve into who the character has been up until this point. Meaning that we're going back in time to 2016, the year of Pokemon Go, the fidget spinner, the me looking like this, and Stranger Things season 1. Eleven in Stranger Things 1 is quite literally perfect. She is masterfully written and even more masterfully portrayed by Millie Bobby Brown. Eleven has spent her entire life being tortured, abused, manipulated, and used as a guinea pig by Dr. Brenner. She quite literally does not have a sense of individuality or personality because she was taken at birth and raised to believe that she is a pawn in the game of these scientists. That is her place, her reason to exist. But through meeting Mike and the others who teach her about the real world, she learns 2 key values: friendship and romance. Having people that care about her is a totally new concept, and watching her grapple with this is very emotional. Plus, just seeing Eleven adapt to the real world for the first time and discovering everyday things is just so beautiful. And by the end of the season, she has made progress with forming an identity of her own. In the finale, she sacrifices herself for her new friends, as she now, for the first time, understands what it's like to have people who she cares for, and would put her life on the line for. Whereas in the past, she would only take risks because she was ordered to by power-hungry scientists who used her. And that is the end of Eleven. But then Stranger Things became a global phenomenon and made a fuck ton of money, so sequel time, here we go! Eleven's arc for season 2 on paper is really incredible. She's learned friendship and she's starting to learn romance, so what's a more logical next step than family? Sadly, her family includes this useless motherfucker. Yeah, everything to do with Carly and that whole Chicago episode is an absolute waste of time. We all know this, and Eleven's character arc does take way too long to come to a conclusion this season, but I really love what they were going for nonetheless. Eleven has been raised by Hopper this past year, and she's grateful, but she's also desperate to go out into the world and find out more about herself, beyond the walls of Hop's cabin. So she comes face to face with her real family. She meets her mother, which is a sobering reality for her. She then goes off with Carly, but after realizing that she doesn't necessarily align with a lot of Carly's views, she makes a choice. And this is a key moment here. She makes a choice. For the first time in her life, Eleven is able to choose who she goes to. In season 1, she becomes close to Mike, Lucas, and Dustin, but I mean, what other choice did she really have? They were kind of just the first people she ran into. When Hopper found her in the woods, I mean, what was she gonna do? Run away and freeze to death? Hopper would have made sure he took her in no matter what. But this time, she is presented with the option between her past family and her current family, and she decides to return to her chosen people. Her dad, the boy she loves, and her friends. These are the people that matter to her, and this is her purpose. And knowing the risk, she goes to them anyway. Keep this moment in mind because a lot of the issues I had with Eleven in season 5 can be juxtaposed with this decision in season 2. For the first time in her life, she ends this season where she wants to be. She still has to be careful that she isn't scouted out by the military or anyone who's still after her, but she's able to see Mike and everyone close to her. Season 3, her arc is, Wait, what's her arc again? In the first few episodes of season 3, her arc is really tied to Max, as she teaches Elle the meaning of sisterhood and what it's like to have a best friend. Makes sense, it's another logical continuation to her story, I like it. My complaint though is that after a few episodes, it kind of just stops. She's like, oh cool, I guess I don't need a boyfriend to be happy, and that's an important lesson to learn, but then nothing else happens. She just kind of becomes the action hero for the party to take out all the CGI bad guys and bleed from the nose a lot. She is pretty much reduced to girl who lifts her hands and screams a lot, which, like, okay, it's cool to see her kicking ass, but I feel like you could have done more with the story you were building up there. Funnily enough, I actually feel the same way about Will this season. Built him up for a really intriguing story, and then, whoop, never mind, now you're just in the background looking awkward for 5 episodes. Eleven's story does kind of take a back sexy this time round. But that's alright, because thankfully season 4 is right around the corner and it brings 11 a beautiful character arc. And that's a privilege, because season 4 is so crowded that some characters don't even get arcs at all. Like Jonathan. What the fuck is he doing here? So 11 has learned 3 key values so far: friendship, romance, and family. What is there left to figure out? Well, herself. As much as she has found her own sense of identity through the people that she loves, the trauma that she faced as a child still looms over her. Since birth, she has had to either submit to the demands of the power-hungry freaks above her or retaliate with violence. Essentially, she is in a constant state of fight or flight, which puts her in a situation where she is left to think, am I the bad guy here? Am I the monster? And she thinks that she was responsible for a massacre at Hawkins' lab in which several children died. However, through fighting through her trauma and reliving her past which she had blocked out, she realizes that she actually isn't a monster. She was lied to and manipulated, and finding out that Henry was the true force behind this massacre further cements this. Doesn't mean that she should have pelted the girl across the face with a roller skate. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. But she realizes that she isn't evil. She's a victim of more trauma than most people around her could possibly comprehend, and that sense of self-acceptance is really the last piece of the puzzle for her to unlock her true self and regain her powers again. It's a great arc. Millie Bobby Brown brings it home time and time again. Like, up until this point, even when there have been some weird character choices, her performance has never faltered. So you may ask, well, where do we go from here? What's next for 11? Well, I feel like the Duffers were asking something similar going into this season. 11 in season 5 is essentially a shell of who she used to be. It's actually kind of crazy just how much the writers stripped away absolutely every layer that she had leading up to this point. And quite frankly, the more that I rewatch 11's scenes on season 5, the more I just think, yeah, this really sucks. Firstly, 11 is way more sidelined this time round. She's always been pretty much the focal point of this show, and she remains to be the most iconic character in all of Stranger Things. I mean, I had never watched this show prior to November, but believe me, I knew 11. I've seen the memes of her screaming in a movie theater, okay? Even my mum knows who she is. But in season 5, her screen time is significantly lower. She spends a solid chunk of the story stuck in the Upside Down with Hopper, and it feels like her plot isn't really lining up with anything in the main story for a while. For her, episodes 2 to 6 consists of her breaking into the military base and finding Carly, which, like, fine, but also feels a bit weird for her to be like a C-plot for a large percentage of the show, and then suddenly become really important at the end. It's like season 2, where they didn't bring her into the fold until way later, because they knew that the threat would be eliminated in 2 seconds if Elle was there, not off frolicking around with Carly in Chicago. Elle being sidelined didn't resonate with people before, and it's not working now. Additionally, I don't want to be rude, I want to mainly talk about the character and not the actor, but it does feel kind of weird watching Millie Bobby Brown in the role now. Obviously, there's all the memes about how uncanny it is seeing 11 with Botox, and I don't know, maybe it's because she no longer looks like 11, the traumatized girl finding her way in the world for the first time, and instead looks like Millie Bobby Brown, 20-year-old millionaire and mother of 1. It does kind of break my immersion a little, I'm sorry. And I feel like she had a lot more emotional range when playing this character in every previous season. Like, remember when Max came back from her trance and 11 just didn't give a shit? The same 11 who sobbed violently at her death and somehow miraculously breathed life into her, who loved Max as a sister in season 3, you know, that 11. Also, just like a lot of things in season 5, her power scaling is really weird. She can snap the necks of dozens of military officers, and we see her bring down a literal fucking helicopter from the sky, but she finds it super difficult to lift up a single metal plate from the ground. It's like the video game boss when you fight them versus when you unlock them as a playable character, but these are all small nitpicks in the grand scheme of things. My real issue lies within the finale. It's finally time to talk about her ending. Let's just get into this. When I first watched 11's death scene in the Stranger Things finale, I thought, wow! This is terrible. You can see me try to conceal and process it in my reaction video while still trying to enjoy the show, but I was also just so confused as to where this writing decision came from. I know she has an alternate ending later, but for now, let's just focus on this one. Let's assume that this is the real ending, that this is how 11's story ends, because as the Duffer Brothers said, it is open to interpretation, which, by the way, is a new level of fucking bullshit that I will get to later. If this is the real ending, if this is truly the way that Elle's story climaxes, then my god, it is one of the worst endings for a character that I have seen in a very long time. Having Elle be pressured into suicide out of fear of being captured and used by cruel, power-hungry scientists again completely goes against the arc that she's been on since season 1. Now granted, I understand the reasons behind her decision. She carries the same blood as Vecna, meaning that as long as she is alive, there is always the chance of another one of him being created. Their suffering will never truly end, and even if she escapes, the military will always be hunting her down and will eventually find her. Even if we literally see that this isn't the fucking case later in the episode, but why fucking whatever. But even then, this is still such a lazy and weak way to end her story. The Duffer Brothers say it themselves in their bullshit documentary that they released about season 5. Their show is about facing difficulties in life and overcoming them. It's one of the key aspects of Stranger Things and one of their main excuses for not killing off main characters. But every other character, and I do mean every single one, would be a more fitting character to kill than Eleven, especially if you're going to do it by having her pressured into suicide. Because ever since the show began, Elle has been on a journey of accepting that she is deserving and capable of living a normal life of her own choosing, of not being used as a pawn in a game. She is so much more than that, and she has people around her who are willing to help her make that happen. She doesn't believe that she is worth all the trouble, but she is. Hopper, Mike, and all her friends will do anything and everything in their power to ensure that she lives the rest of her life in peace, because she is worth it. And all of this is embodied in Hopper's speech to her in the finale, where he basically reiterates this sentiment. It's a beautiful moment, and I thought, cool, awesome, what a nice, really meaningful ending. And then she just kills herself anyway! Actually, I think I'm gonna off myself, but great speech, Dad. One of your better ones. Are you serious? I know she had that moment on the roof with Hopper where she tells him that he needs to trust her to make her own decisions, but like, I didn't think that meant suicide. I just thought that meant trust me enough to go up to the abyss and kick Vecna's ass, believe in what I'm capable of. It is truly the most unfitting end to a major character that I've seen in a very long time, and the audacity to play old clips of her and Mike as children to try and make me cry over it, despite the fact that she and Mike have shared about 2 scenes so far in season 5, and the character of Eleven has been completely undone by this ending. Fuck you, show, seriously. When questioned, the Duffer Brothers said that they just couldn't find a realistic way to end the show without killing Eleven. They just didn't know how it could be possible. Listen to me, Ross and Matt Duffer. Your main cast of characters, mostly children, just defeated this fucking behemoth without suffering a single injury by throwing water balloons and flare guns at it. So don't try to talk to me about realism. Your show hasn't been about that since season 2. Let's be so real with us. Anyway, so that's how the character of Eleven ends. Bye. Yep, video's over. See you later. No, honestly, that's it. There's not a second alternative ending or anything. No, that'd be crazy. Unless the Duffer Brothers were so insecure about the way that they ended Eleven's story that they felt the need to write another one and make us pick which one we preferred, right? 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 The second alternate ending to Eleven's story, where she escapes the grasp of the military with the help of Carly and goes off to a faraway land with the waterfalls that she was promised and finally gets out to live her life in peace, in my opinion, is perfect. It is, in my eyes, the perfect ending to Eleven's arc that she has been on since season 1. She has spent the last 6 years, or however long it's been in the show, being built up by those around her from a shell of a human being into a fully fledged person. The only obstacle remaining in her way being the same dickheads who want to treat her as a guinea pig and not the person that she has become. So, in the spirit of the show, finally overcoming this and being able to live how she chooses is literally perfection. And there's still an element of sacrifice too. It's not a totally peachy clean ending. She has to let go of anyone and everyone that she loves. Her boyfriend who taught her the meaning of friendship and love, her father who taught her the meaning of family, and all of her other best friends too. Even though she didn't seem that bothered about Max anymore, but you know, I'm guessing she misses her. It is a very fitting ending to this character. My issue with it is that the Duffer Brothers didn't have the balls to choose it as the official ending. When I first watched the episode, I assumed that they were just saying, oh, this is what actually happened. This is Mike realizing that this is the real ending. I only found out after finishing the episode that it's open to interpretation. You literally have an option in front of you of good ending versus bad ending. One that honors the very emotional and meaningful story of your most iconic character, and one that throws it all away just to give the audience an element of surprise. And they couldn't fucking pick one! One of my least favorite tropes in TV and film is when writers write several endings and then leave it up to interpretation, because in a lot of cases, especially this one, it just reeks of laziness. Eleven used to be a character handled with so much love and care, but for whatever reason, the Duffer Brothers were totally careless with her this time round, toying with her fate just for a bit of spectacle instead of actually honoring what makes Elle, Elle. I understand that some people like this ending, okay, and I'm happy for you. I wish I was in your shoes, I really do. But I mean, even Millie didn't seem particularly thrilled with the way that 11's story came to a close.
Were you guys happy with the ending of each of your characters?
I mean, you know it's bad when SNL gave the character a better ending than the one she got in the show, so... What strange times we live in. Anyway, Stranger Things is over. It's all in the past now, and I still don't hate season 5 or anything. I think it's decent because the cast are just way too good at what they do for the show to ever drop below decent status, but yeah, some decisions like this one still irk me even a month and a half after the finale. Should I just move on with my life and grow up? Probably. Thank you, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.